Whether you're joining a Product Marketing Alliance event for the first time, or if you're a seasoned regular, welcome to the first ever Customer Marketing Summit. Before we set the ball rolling on the next session, we just want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, partners, speakers, and you, our lovely audience. From wherever in the world you are watching, we're sure you'll enjoy the sessions from our incredible lineup. With expert presentations, specialist talks, and deep dive panel sessions on the agenda, you are in for a real treat today. To get the most out of these sessions, please ensure you are sharing your feedback and asking all your questions in the comments section, and our speakers will be answering them throughout. After the event, a great place to continue the conversation is in the Customer Marketing channel in the PMA Slack community. If you aren't already a member, hop on over. In addition to the jam-packed lineup, we were delighted to announce the winner of the Customer Marketing Excellence Award a little earlier today. Missed it? Well, don't worry, because we have given the winner and the runners-up a shout-out in the Customer Marketing channel on Slack. Be sure to head on over and share your congratulations. We had a great time reviewing all your fantastic nominations. Thanks for taking the time to share them with us. But now, it's time for the next talk.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our session. We're really excited to have you here. We're going to be talking about turning loyal customers into raving champions today. So my name's Jenny Asaba. I oversee community engagement and advocacy at a technology company that's based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am incredibly excited to be here with Jen. Jen, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Thank you, Jenny. I'm Jen Szynski, and I manage the Global Customer Experience and Advocacy Program at HPE. Really chuffed to be a part of this session. I'd like to first kick off our fireside chat with getting your thoughts, Jenny, around customer advocacy versus customer marketing. Do you think they're one and the same, or are they two different buckets?
Yeah, I love this topic. So Jen, as you know, this comes up a lot in conversations around advocacy programs. And what I encourage people to ask themselves when they think about this is, number one, can you have one without the other? So can you have customer advocacy without customer marketing and vice versa? And does that matter? For instance, I wholeheartedly believe that customer marketing is a natural byproduct of any successful customer advocacy program. But the reverse is not always, if ever, true, in my opinion. So this goes back to the idea that people do not like being sold to. They don't like being marketed to. Jen, I doubt you do. I'm not a big fan of being marketed to. But if you treat customers really, really well, show them that you support them first and foremost through a well-rounded advocacy program, I believe they're going to get what they want out of the program and then want to help you with all of your additional efforts, which naturally creates all of those customer marketing opportunities. What do you think about that, Jen? Do you agree, disagree?
I 100% agree. I, from the get-go, knew that if I built a program that pretty much 100% gave back to my customers, I would always be able to fill marketing requests. When you provide value to them and you are a strategic part of their success, there are always going to be customers that are willing to do stuff on your behalf. But if you take it the flip side and you lead with asking and then trickle down things that you can give them further down the funnel, that scenario doesn't always work.
Yeah, and I think too, we both experienced that not everyone necessarily believes that's true. The customer marketing side, I think, is where people tend to naturally lead, because you can say, like, I need this for the company in order for, us to succeed or what have you. But we've seen through our experience, right? And I know a lot about your story and your successes with your program, that just like you said, you flip it on its side. And that just comes because people want to help when they know that you are first and foremost there to help them.
I think another misconception is that the customers always want to speak on our behalf. So I think it's important for us as community leaders is to really identify where they're comfortable. Are they comfortable speaking at events? Are they comfortable speaking on webinars? Are they comfortable speaking to prospects? So knowing that information also helps us identify where we can safely place them in customer marketing asks.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. Is if you're doing your job really well as a community leader, then you recognize which of those customers want to partake in different activities, just like people have different personas and personalities. Like we want to engage in different ways too. So I think that's just an awesome point. Jen, I'm going to bring up the next topic here. So like, as we know, all stellar community leaders know just how important it is to create that customer first space. But I don't get the sense that everyone knows how to do this. So would you mind sharing some of your tips and tricks and feedback about what you've done to achieve success in creating this customer first mentality?
Yeah, so I think it's both from a program perspective and a personal perspective. So from a program perspective, I think defining key pillars are really important, such are what are the goals that you want to give back to your customers? What are the goals that you need to hit internally? And then what are the goals that you need to have with all of your stakeholders? Internal buy-in is essential across the board. Every single business unit, I feel every group needs a hand in the pot, whether it's engineering, support, product management, product marketing, customer experience. If everybody is not on board, it's further roadblocks for the community to thrive. But more so, I really feel like before you get to any of that, you need to define your personal pillars. So for me personally, it was to dream big. I still dream big. I always want to be confident when I'm pitching this program, whether it's internally to somebody who's heard it 10 times before or somebody new. Always being firm on the vision of where I want to go. And that's going to change over time as my program grows. I always want to be bold. I'm courageous. I take risks. You have to take risks if you want your community to grow. It's just a given. On the flip side to that, I'm not afraid to make tough decisions. Making tough decisions sometimes is the best thing for your community. Own it. I'm accountable for everything that touches my community. I can't pass the buck. I'm the community lead. Work as a team. Collaborate with anybody and everybody that wants to touch your group. If they can bring value to your customers, find a way to collaborate with them. Do the right thing. I always try to conduct myself with honesty and integrity with every single customer and every single interaction. It's not always easy. Sometimes I want to tell them more than I can, but just leading with being as transparent as you possibly can just earns their respect on a level that is absolutely stellar. Show everybody that's part of your program respect. You might not always agree with what they're going to say, but take that step back and lead with what's right for your customers. Lastly, I think just loving what you do. This is such a great, great space. I have a marketing ops background and didn't think that I was going to thrive in this space. And I honestly love what I do every single day. Even when I get a call from a customer who has a support issue and it's 11 o'clock on a Friday night, my computer is on within 5 minutes because I've built these relationships, and it's just it's a great, great space to work in. Having well-defined pillars also allows me to be a human. The human aspect of these communities is so important. I would actually stake my job on it that robotic communities do not thrive. The human element of this is really, really important, which brings me to an extremely important aspect of communities. What does it mean to you, Jenny, to give your customers a seat at your table?
Ooh, I love this topic because this really gets to the heart of just any customer advocacy program. And that's, giving customers more opportunities to connect with each other and your organization in strategic and really, really meaningful ways. And like you said, Jen, being human at the center and as your foundation throughout all of it is extremely important. And I can get into that in a little bit. But for me, this seat at the table concept, it really means listening, which is not rocket science, right? But in order to do it well, you have to be willing to put your ear to the ground, actually hear what your customers want and need. And sometimes those don't align with what's on your roadmap. I think we've both experienced that because our product at the end of the day is not, what our teams are developing. It's not a software solution, it's people. So we need to recognize that their needs, their wants are changing constantly, and we need to listen. So for instance, and then I swear I'll answer more of the question with some examples, but one thing that I learned a lot over this last year during this pandemic was I had a whole plan for what my advocacy program is going to do, right? Like we're strategists too. We plan out what's going to happen. And then pandemic hits, people are in really hard spaces. And I just started really listening again, put my ear to the ground and said like, hey, customers in my program, what do you need? And it turned out all they wanted at that point was more connection. They're just like, I'm home by myself throughout all of this, I'm not interacting with people like normal. Some people it's easier, some people it's much more difficult. But as a whole, my customers globally just asked for more connection. So we pivoted and started virtual meetups, where now still to this day, we meet twice a month for 1 hour each time, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. And we routinely get anywhere from 50 to 60 customers on those calls from, I think the last count was 11 different countries. And people are developing friendships with each other. And that's my goal is like, hey, if you all can be in the first physical space together, having never met before in person, and you feel like you have friends in that room, then I've succeeded, right? So that was one example where I just like really, really listened and did something super easy to pivot and to recognize the wants and needs of the customers. But again, that's more of a drastic example there. So a couple other ways giving people a seat at the table is just asking for the routine feedback, right? So this can be about anything, can be about your program, your organization's products or services, but you need to actually, again, listen and show your customers that they're heard. So involve customers in focus groups, beta testing, a customer advisory board, help them write blogs for your organization's website so that their voices are amplified. My background's in journalism, so this is a piece that I absolutely love is like, how do we take the great ideas and experiences that our customers have and just amplify those within the organization, and then share the customer's ideas and sentiments throughout the organization. So I do this a lot where I hear something great in my program, it could be something great that they've done, or it could be a customer's feedback on our support team, because our support team is absolutely outstanding. And I share those in various ways, whether it's an all company meeting, it's in the Slack channel, like people at Jamf would probably say, yep, we know what Jenny is up to because she maybe overshares, but I want people to know what's going on with customers because that helps us recognize our customer base, understand their wants and their needs, and then pivot as needed as a company. So I think there's just so many different ways that we can give them seats at the table. And Jen, I know you've done some super interesting things in this area. So I'd love if you could share some of your tips here.
Yeah, so 100% agree. Focus groups and betas, those are the things that the customers love being a part of because it really solidifies the fact that they have a seat at the table. When they're part of a focus group and beta and they see feature enhancements come into play that they've actually talked about, they know that we're listening, and that is very much key. You actually have to listen to your customers because if you listen but you don't hear them, they will stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
And that is detrimental to any product. Another thing that I did that I was actually surprised at the response I got, just because it happened during the pandemic. At the beginning of it, we have a lot of customers that are mission critical customers. And I worked with the lead of support and basically provided a list that just listed out our top mission critical customers, gave it over, and if they were to call support, they would have went right to the head of the queue. After I sorted this internally, I emailed each customer to let them know that this was going to be the protocol with them. And they were so blown away that we did that. Even if they never had to use it, they were so chuffed and felt so special that it was just something that I could give back to them so that they knew how valued they were to us. Also, getting them involved in the sales cycle. I know that it sounds silly, and I'm not talking about reference calls. I'm talking about having your customers educate your sales teams about what they need to hear when you approach them. It will help your internal sales teams sell better. That's something that we started doing last year, and we saw a lot of success with it. And the customers actually laughed at me when I went to them with this idea, but they really enjoyed it because they were seeing they would see the different side of the house when they would meet with the sales teams, when they sat in a room and heard how they're learned or they're taught to sell the product. So that was a really great experience for both the sales reps and the customers that took part in that exercise. Which brings us to our next segment, tips and tricks for success. There are so many tips and tricks that we could share with you guys, but we're going to give you a handful of our top ones. So Jenny, why don't you take that one away?
Yeah, tips and tricks for success. So I think that, number one, like you said, you need to listen, you need to be vulnerable. Vulnerability as a community manager can be one of the scariest things because people are like, what the heck do you mean by that? And I mean, to the point, I'm going to give this example. Jen, I don't know if you've heard of this. I know you haven't seen it, but there was one time where we were on I think it was a virtual meetup, and customers were just sharing, they were just having a rough time, right? They were just down and out, like the world is crashing around us, right? That might be a bit extreme, maybe not, but there's a lot going on. And I think I internalized that a little bit because that night I had just an awful nightmare. And if anybody watching has the nightmares where it's like a movie in your head, you see all the details, you feel everything, and you wake up and you're just kind of like, I didn't enjoy that. That wasn't pleasant. Let's get that out of my head. So what I did was I came down to, my office space here in the basement, and I sat down with my computer and I recorded a little message just on a little Zoom meeting like this. And I just spoke to my customers from my heart. And I'm like, y'all, I just woke up from an awful nightmare. And I think it's because the world is crazy. We're all going through so much, and we're just having a hard time with it. So if this is any bit of help or I don't know, enjoyment to you all, I'm going to deliver something to you that makes me feel better. And I sat and a cappella, I just sang Lean on Me, and I sang a couple of verses, and I did like one take right there, very raw, shaky voice and everything. And I put it out to them, and the messages that I got back, and this was like, I don't like sing in front of people a lot. So the messages that I got back were just like, that is exactly what I needed, just to hear that somebody's going through the same thing. The fact that you were raw and took time to do that and thought of us, like those little gestures, we can do them so easily, but I think we forget about them because, like you said, we think about how do we get the biggest impact out to people. And a lot of times it's just like through the machine learning, or it's through these other areas that take away that human aspect, and people want more of the human side. So that's not like a list of tips and tricks I could provide around like being that human person on the other end. It's just kind of digging deep and saying, what do I appreciate when people do this for me? Do they send me a handwritten card every now and then to say thank you? Do they send me recognition when I had a new baby. I do that for my customers, send out, secretly find out what the baby's name is and send them out something. Is it just recognizing them in front of the company and then letting them know that I recognized an achievement they had in their area in front of the company? Like, those are all things that put together really help us achieve success in our programs. And Jen, I know that you like fully believe in this humanistic side of it too. And that's, it's that relationship building piece. If nothing else, if people truly focus on building a genuine relationship, want to know their customers, want to help their customers, I think that's where they're going to achieve success.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I'm sure you've got a list of maybe more well-defined tips and tricks on there. So if you could share
tips and tricks, but definitely areas of interest. I think personalizing everywhere and anywhere that you can is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means sending 50 emails as opposed to one email, that personalization where you speak directly to that one customer, that could be the difference between success and failure.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't just mean for that ask, I mean for, them engaging with you overall. Another area is empathizing with your customer. If they need you and they're actually reaching out, there's probably a reason for that. So take a step back, no matter how busy you are, and put yourself in your customer's shoes. Whatever you have to do, get them into the right swim lane. They will be forever thankful to you, and they will acknowledge that you went above and beyond for them. Be creative with them. Think outside the box. Don't do the same thing over and over again. They get excited when they know they're my guinea pig. But you're doing something fun with them. You're taking, the mundane task of doing something on our behalf and putting some spice into it. Again, we talked about being human. Be human whenever you can be human. It will breathe a new life into your program. And lastly, have fun. There is a post that I did. I don't even like mentioning when I did it because I think I did it at the end of 2018. Mm-hmm. And it is the most active discussion in my discussion board still. Mm-hmm. And all it was take a movie and replace one of the words with bacon. Now, I come from a big tech company, so the fact that that's my that's the most popular discussion post across the board for the entire company and our community. We laugh every time on the back end it pops up to the top of our funnel again. And I think it's just have fun. And there are people that posted on this and when I first did it, and when somebody comes in and does a movie that they didn't think of, it just starts the whole chain up again. So don't be afraid to have fun. At the end of the day, your customers want to have fun as well. So you might as well have fun with them so that they don't go somewhere else. Which brings us to our last segment, but it's a great one. Jenny, if you could offer one piece of advice to a person coming into this space or a company that wants to start an advocacy community, what would it be?
Yeah, I love that. Maybe oversimplify, but it's honestly just to do it, to start. So, but I'm going to say, in my opinion, don't just create that customer marketing program. So create a customer advocacy program. Think well-rounded. Think, what can I give to help my customers achieve success in their areas? And recognize that all of your customers have different personas, different personalities. They're going to get different things. I think in one way, we've got the hardest job in the world because we have to account for every personality, right? Like, this person's going to like this thing, but this person's going to like this thing. How do I engage all of them? And like you said, Jen, like, you have to have fun, because if your heart's not in it, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, guess who's going to understand that and who's going to see it? Like, everybody on the other side, right? Like, yeah, why would I want to engage in your program if you're not enjoying it? Like, right? So you have to make it fun for them, for yourself, and derive that really strong value for your customers, because then that will always come back and give you all of the success that you're looking for your company. I think Jen, you kind of hit on my other points there of just like, you need to remember to be human. You need to remember to have fun. You need to remember to just like overall engage and listen. And it's just, yeah, like just start somewhere. I also get this question a lot from people where they're like, I don't know where to start, or I'm not sure what to do. And it's like, you just have to start somewhere. Start and listen and pivot as needed. So as I said, like, our product is people. So if you start and you kind of go in recognizing that you're going to need a little forgiveness along the way, and be upfront about it. I tell my customers, I don't know if this crazy idea that I had last night is going to work, but I'm going to try, and I want your feedback. And they're going to give me the feedback, right? Because they want to succeed with it too. And they want the program to get better. So that's something that I routinely do, crazy ideas or not, like just pivoting, listening, and constantly being willing to try something new. Like, I loved what you said about like kind of being fearless, going outside the box, like, all of those are incredibly important to move a program forward, and listen to other people. Like, Jen, I learned so much from you every time we talk, and from other, there are just incredible program managers that are out there and that want to connect with each other and really learn. So there's so many resources that we can learn from. But yeah, that's my number one thing, is just start, and then you can go and grow from there. But Jen, what do you agree with me? What do you think here?
I do agree with you. I think, I think there's a lot of pressure put on these groups because they're externally facing. But I think anybody that's a community manager or somebody that oversees where the program sits in the company, really, you have to not be afraid to be innovative, not be afraid to go against the grain, do something that you've never done before. They appreciate it. Customers appreciate it. Really making sure that you have complete internal buy-in before you start a program. I do think that that's pretty critical. You get one shot to make a good first impression with a community, and if you go into it too soon and you don't have the buy-in that you need to actually bring value to your customers, that could be really hard to come back from. Outside of that, I think bottom line is you have to be willing to be an advocate for your advocates, no matter what the situation is. Sometimes I personally feel that others in the company don't understand that point of view. So making sure that the people that support you understand that, that's another key thing. If I was to start something from scratch, I would really educate internal people about why that is so important. Mm-hmm. And it's the educating of internal stakeholders never ends. No. So it never ends. Mm-hmm. But it's just really important to know your pillars, like we spoke about in the beginning. They can adjust, but your key pillars will always be fundamental to your program.
Yeah, I love that. Jen, it has been awesome talking to you. I hope everybody watching has learned a thing or two from us, I hope. And we're just, I think, I speak on behalf of you too, Jen, that we're just really excited for anybody in this space, because it is such an exciting area to be in and to help develop, and just to give your customers those opportunities to engage with your company that they haven't had before, if you haven't had a customer advocacy program. So it's really exciting. We're super excited to be able to bring these topics to you, and we're just super grateful that you tuned in and gave us some of your time today. So yeah,
I hope we inspired some people.
I hope so. So Jen, hopefully we'll see each other again real soon, and everybody else, best of luck with everything. You're going to be great. Take care.
Good luck, guys.
Bye.